If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left.
We're the Avengers.
We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Everybody, it's Warren. Avengers Endgame tickets went on sale today, this morning, and with it we got some amazing new footage and a special look from Marvel Studios this morning. It's a 1-minute special look for Avengers Endgame with all new footage. And I thought we'd get before the movie comes out, so let's dive right into it and break it down. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I'm doing a new Infinity Gauntlet giveaway. If you'd like to enter for your chance to win, all you have to do is be subscribed to my channel, like this video, and comment down below with your thoughts and your favorite superhero or villain. So the special look opens with a shot of the Avengers compound, and it starts with Banner saying, "If we do this, we'll be going in short-handed." What he's talking about here is what we've actually predicted for some time now, and that is that the Avengers will actually go and try to fight Thanos not too long after the snap in the very beginning of Avengers Endgame. They're short-handed because half of the Avengers got killed in the snap. And at this point in time, they probably don't have Tony Stark either, or if he is back, he doesn't go with them because he's too hurt to go with them. Of Natasha with her red hair, it looks like she could be somewhere in Japan, or maybe she's at the Avengers facility still. But we get the same line from her that we got from the other trailers. Everybody who's not in this room to try. Obviously talking about going to fight Thanos to try and undo the snap. Rocket and Nebula sitting together, and you can tell by the looks on both of their faces and the fact that they're holding hands that Nebula just told Rocket that all of the Guardians of the Galaxy fell victim to Thanos' snap and are now gone. The only two left of their Guardians family. And then the very next scene is Tony reuniting with Pepper Potts. Nebula and Tony make it back to Earth, and they make it back to Earth pretty early on in the movie. Then get our true first look at Iron Man's new Mark 85 Iron Man armor, and he's flying over New York. But it looks exactly like the concept art photos that we've seen, the promo art photos that we've seen, and the new toy figures that have just been released as well. It looks like the classic Iron Man armor from the comics, and it looks really awesome. We also know from some other leaks that this new armor has some new weapons as well. And then we see Hawkeye, who is finally back at the Avengers compound, all tatted up. Gets back and meets up with the other Avengers pretty early on in the film as well. Remember, Kevin Feige said that most of the footage that we see in the trailers or TV spots is most likely going to be from the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. That doesn't mean all of the footage, but he said most of it probably will be. So it seems like the original Avengers reassemble and unite in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. We have the same scene that we saw from the last trailer with Captain Marvel and Thor, and this time you can see Stormbreaker pretty clearly. I know some people thought that his hammer might have been Mjolnir from the trailer that we saw before, but it's definitely Stormbreaker. Then we have this one scene with all of the Avengers and they're getting up and they're looking at something. And in the scene we have Hawkeye, War Machine, Iron Man, Captain America, Nebula, Rocket, Ant-Man, and Black Widow. The only heroes that are not in the scene are the Hulk, Thor, and Captain Marvel. So this could be the scene where Captain Marvel and Thor are talking, or this could have something to do with Professor Hulk. Whatever it is, it's important because all of the heroes get up and give it their attention. It most likely does have something to do with Captain Marvel and Thor because it's in the same room as that scene. Then we have the scene that we've all been waiting for, Iron Man and Captain America reuniting. They're clearly in the middle of something and Tony Stark asks Steve Rogers, "Do you trust me?" And they shake hands and he says, "I do." So finally, Iron Man and Captain America working together again. Now if you look in the background, you can see that most of it is destruction. We can see cars flipped over and ambulance and police lights in the background. They could be back in time to the original Battle of New York at this point. We've seen leaked photos of this, however, Captain America is still wearing his new scale uniform. And then the leaked set photos, he's wearing the uniform that he wore in the first Avengers film. So there's a few things that could be happening here. One is that using CGI, they make Captain America appear like he's still present Captain America and not in the past. Two, they could just be using barf technology to revisit the events. 3, it's simply present time. But I'm leaning towards this is probably time travel and they're just covering it up with CGI, making Captain America appear as if he is still in his scale uniform so we don't know that it's time travel. Because Tony does appear to be wearing the same outfit that he wore in those leak set photos. I have a scene with the Benatar flying away from a planet and I'm not quite sure that's Earth. It's not very blue and there are 2 other planets extremely close by. Perhaps Tony and Nebula somehow land on another planet, they get the parts they need to fix their ship, and then they head home. Or perhaps this is just them leaving Titan for the first time because it does look very red, like Titan is. And then the next scene is what appears to be most of the Avengers going to fight Thanos. In the Benatar, so they're not going to get Tony and Nebula. They couldn't use the Benatar unless Tony and Nebula were already back at that point. So Tony and Nebula are already back and now they're going to fight Thanos. We know from the Disney shareholders footage that was shown that Captain Marvel says they need to go fight Thanos right away. We have Captain Marvel now and believe that they can beat him with her power. And you can see everyone in this scene with the exception of Bruce Banner and Tony Stark. Look very closely and slow it down, you can actually see Nebula's head behind Thor, on the right side over his left shoulder. Then in an upcoming scene, you can see Nebula and War Machine clearly on the ship together. We have a really heartbreaking scene with Tony Stark looking at a picture of him and Peter Parker. We know that Tony is going to feel an extreme amount of guilt and sadness due to the fact that Peter Parker was victim of the snap and died in his arms. We know that Peter was like a son to Tony, so Tony will probably have a really hard time dealing with this in the beginning of the movie. And when he's looking at the photo, we hear the voice of Thanos saying, "You could not live with your own failure." So you know that Tony is struggling with it, but then he says, "And where did that bring you? Back to me." Then we see Thanos' ship, the Sanctuary 2, and we get a look at Nebula and War Machine. And Nebula looks like she's experiencing just a ton of emotions in this scene right here. Probably a lot of hate and a lot of fear at the same time, as she approaches Thanos' ship. But we then have a very interesting scene with Thor and Rocket. Thor looks in disbelief and so does Rocket. And we know from the previous trailers that it seems like Thor and Rocket go off alone on a separate mission. Perhaps they go back to Nidavellir, but wherever they go and whatever they find, they seem to be in clear disbelief of what they are seeing. There seems to be a little bit of an orange glow in Thor's eyes, so maybe he's seeing Heimdall somehow. Maybe Heimdall or Odin is communicating with him somehow from Valhalla. Then we have a scene with Captain America on his floor. He has his shield back, most likely the same scene from the other trailers. And then we finally, for the first time, get a look at Thanos. We see him appear from a blue beam of light, which is most likely from the Sanctuary 2. It's not the Space Stone because we've seen him use that before and it doesn't look like that. But it seems like they've tracked Thanos down and they're fighting on a distant planet to avoid hurting Earth any further. And as he appears, we see Tony Stark in his new Mark 85 armor, walking towards him, eyeing him down, ready for his rematch against Thanos. And then we have the coolest scene of this trailer, the original 3 Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor walking towards Thanos. And as you can see, Thanos is just sitting down waiting for them. We can see his double-bladed sword, but I can't see the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, of course, they could have just edited it out of the trailer, but Thanos almost looks defeated in this scene. We see when he arrives with the blue beam of light and he's standing up in that scene. But in this scene, he's sitting down. Perhaps he's just waiting for the Avengers, but he actually looks sad in this scene and a little defeated. Perhaps the Infinity Gauntlet was damaged and he could not use it against the Avengers and they actually beat him. But that's it for this new special look at Avengers Endgame with all new footage. This really was more footage than I thought we'd ever get for this movie. With each trailer and special look, they give us way more than I expected to see. Again, tickets went on sale for Avengers Endgame this morning, so be sure to get them before they're all sold out. Be sure to let me know what you thought of this trailer and let me know if you picked up on anything specifically. And let me know what your favorite part was. Be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on everything relating to Avengers Endgame and Marvel, and so you can enter the Infinity Gauntlet giveaway. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.